We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Friday, June 20 here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. And joining us today is Lee Won-bin.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And Brooke Prince is also with us today.
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. It's Friday, so we're closing off the week with a toast to new trends. But this toast is a little different. It's all about raising a glass without the buzz. And this brings us to today's topic on News Generation, non-alcoholic beverages. So Won-bin, today is a Friday, the perfect day to hang out with friends. Do you have any plans to go out? And would you say you enjoy drinking?
Well, to answer your first question first, unfortunately, I don't drink that much, and I don't have much plans on drinking this week either. I am an outgoing person, but I definitely don't enjoy the nightlife of drinking or partying in Korea. You know, in Korea we call it 술자리, where like people gather up and drink beer and alcohol. And to answer your second question, I drink maybe 3 to 4 times a year, and that's not a month, it's a year. And even when I do drink, it's usually just beer or a shot of whiskey at my house with my little brother Brian or with a friend. However, that number is going down even further since there are many cocktails or party drinks without alcohol nowadays.
Right, I feel like there's more and more people that tend to not drink these days. What about you, Brooke?
Well, for medical reasons, I can't drink temporarily, but I do enjoy a drink every now and then. I like a margarita or a cocktail, and lately I've been really into these canned cocktails at the convenience store here in Korea. I don't know if you've seen them, but they have real slices of fruit in the can.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's delicious. So they have highball flavors like lime, lemon, and grapefruit. At the end, you can have that nice bit of real fruit, which is really delicious. I also enjoy non-alcoholic cocktails because for me, drinking isn't so much about the alcohol itself, it's more about the atmosphere and the flavor of the drink. So I do like a good mocktail. They tend to be cheaper and fewer in calories, and there are a lot of really tasty options these days.
So I'm actually like Won-bin. I don't drink at all, but like you said, I also enjoy the experience of it. So I've heard that non-alcoholic drinks with less than 1% alcohol content are really popular these days, which is good news for people like me. Is that true?
Yes, that is absolutely true. And in order to truly understand why this trend is happening, you need to understand the cultural background of drinking in Korea. So Brooke will explain this later in the show, but the main takeaway is that people used to force others to drink in Korea, regardless of their preference. And now we have that out of the way, the younger generations are focusing more on health and fitness. They pursue a damp lifestyle, which means to drink in moderation, or even sober living, which means to not drink at all. And due to this trend, the non-alcoholic beverage market is growing as well. And I did bring some data for visualization, so let's take a look at the stats. This data from Euromonitor shows the size of Korea's non-alcoholic beverage market in different years. In 2021, the size of the market was 41.5 billion won, which is about $30 million. 64.4 billion won in 2023, which is again $45 million, which was a 55% increase, and it is projected to reach about 94.6 billion won, about $70 million, in 2027. Again, another 50% increase. Excuse me. Now, considering that the overall beer market size, regular alcoholic beer market size in Korea is decreasing, we can clearly see that the non-alcoholic beverage is the rising market. Now, to get a better understanding of why people drink non-alcoholic beverages, stay with me, I'm almost done. I brought a survey asking 500 people why they drink it. Now, again, let's take a look at the data. The answers, just please take a note that the answers exceed 100% combined because multiple answers were allowed. 60% answered to enjoy with food, 52% answered that it's an alternative to alcoholic beverages, and 43% answered to not get drunk, and 12% answered for taste, and it goes well with the food.
So we looked at a lot of numbers, but that's still very interesting. So it's not really about avoiding just alcohol. These results show that people choose non-alcoholic reasons for different reasons. They personally like the taste of it, but they also want to stay clear-headed. So do you have anything to add to this, bro?
Yes, I'd like to give the American perspective. So just like in Korea, we are seeing this trend of non-alcoholic beverages gain momentum in the US as well. In fact, looking at the numbers in April 2023, just 7% of alcohol drinkers in America said that they had non-alcoholic drinks in addition to regular alcoholic drinks. But by April 2024, that number almost doubled, going all the way up to 13%. And they found that millennials are really driving this shift, with 22% of them saying that they partake in both options, and Gen Z followed at 15%. So again, the people that this show is all about, NewsGen is all about the MZ generation. They are the ones that are driving this growth. And it's really cool to see because it has sparked some change in terms of the venues that you can go to when you go out to socialize, particularly in big cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, New York City. You can find a lot of alcohol-free bars and sober social spaces to go to. So they have great vibes, music, and entertainment. It kind of feels like a bar, but without the hangover.
Did you say non-alcoholic bars?
I did. Alcohol-free.
That sounds really fun.
Be great for you, right?
I would actually go to though. I don't know if they have those.
I mean, it's not. We don't have many of them in Korea, but it would be lovely to have more of them in Korea in the future. Yeah,
that's a good business idea for him. So, Wonbin, why do you think millennials and Gen Zs are drinking less though?
In 2025, it's all about health and fitness. Like, in 2025, staying fit is the best outfit that you can wear. Ooh. And unfortunately, drinking is the #1 thing to avoid when it comes to losing weight and staying fit. To give a brief overview of the effects of drinking, it affects your blood sugar level, it negatively affects your liver function, it affects your cholesterol levels, and most importantly, again, makes you gain weight, especially when consumed together with food, which is how about 90% of people drink alcohol, I assume. And therefore, the MZ generation seem to be more avoiding when it comes to drinking alcohol. And furthermore, they don't force each other to drink anymore, which Brooke can explain further.
Right, so beer is also very detrimental to people who want to go on a diet because not only is it packed with calories, but it also causes bloating. So what do you think about this, Brooke?
Yeah, more and more we're seeing this sober curious movement gain momentum. It's kind of like the damp lifestyle term that we heard earlier. It basically means people that are seeking to reduce or completely eliminate alcohol from their lifestyles. And I think the reason why ties into the MZ generation's focus on personal choice and respecting each other's boundaries. So I think peer pressure when it comes to drinking is a lot less intense than it used to be, and that's why we're seeing less alcohol consumption in younger generations as compared to older generations. And also, if you look at social media, we're talking about health and fitness, you can find so many health and wellness influencers, and that might be influencing people to drink less because, again, drinking is not the healthiest thing. Another big factor that is driving this change is that there are just more fun alternatives out there. You may be able to speak to this, but when you're the only one sitting there with a glass of water or soda, you can kind of feel a little left out when everyone else has a fun, colorful drink with a fun straw and fruit
umbrellas,
and garnishes, right? So you can feel a little excluded, but these days you don't have to do that anymore. There are many other options and a variety of mocktails to choose from, so you can enjoy your time without alcohol. And then in Korea, the culture is changing around drinking. So there's this thing called 회식, which is a work meeting, and typically it's synonymous with, oh, I'm going to have a headache tomorrow morning. Right. But that's changing now. People don't feel as pressured to drink during these meetings, and a lot of young professionals in Korea are instead choosing to go to more creative spaces after work to decompress without the alcohol. So really, it just boils down to the fact that you don't need alcohol to have a good time or to fit in anymore.
So that reminds me, one of the things I get the most often is if you don't drink, what's the point of drinking non-alcoholic drinks? Right. But then, like you said, it's all about the experience and just like one thing said earlier about the umbrella.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
Feel included.
You're right. I want one on my for the picture.
Exactly.
So I mean, I think there has been more options lately with mocktails on the menu. So this is pretty good news for people like me. So with more people turning to non-alcoholic drinks, we wanted to find out how much people are actually drinking. So we conducted a poll on the Arirang뉴스 YouTube channel where we asked our viewers, how much do you usually drink? And here are the answers we got. So 61% of the respondents say that they don't drink alcohol at all, and 34% report that they drink moderately and that they make a conscious effort to pace themselves. And only 5% said they drink until they are completely wasted. So the result was actually quite surprising for me, and I didn't feel very alone in
Like
this.
validated.
Yeah, exactly.
1% for not drinking at all. Maybe people have like a very generous standard of not drinking at all.
Right, actually there was a colleague of mine, I actually had a conversation about this, and he said he didn't drink at all. And I found out later that he doesn't consider beer as drinking, like drinking beer.
Oh.
Which I thought was very interesting.
It's definitely alcoholic, but I can see kind of the logic. It feels very light, doesn't it?
Right.
Compared
Very
to
generous
soju.
standard. Very
Right,
generous
people, because
standard.
we both don't drink,
Right,
which is
right.
why we're both like, is this real? Yeah. So I guess that kind of explains maybe the results better. Yeah. So to find out more about alcohol trends among young people, we're going to talk to a Gen Z from Germany who will share what the culture is like there. And that's coming after the break, so stay tuned.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang.News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Alisa Duda, Gen Z from Germany, currently living in Korea. So I don't know if we heard, but we just had a conversation about the standards for drinking. Do you consider beer as alcohol?
Well, it depends on the beer, no?
That's a good answer. Right.
So there are some types that have no alcohol, and there are some that have like very high, like dark beer has like very, like I think 20%. So that's definitely alcohol.
Okay, I agree. So kind of coming off of that, so do you personally enjoy drinking alcohol though? And what's the appeal for you, or what puts you off of it?
Oh, so actually, I'm also not drinking alcohol at all. But I also consider like beer and low alcohol things as alcohol. So I don't drink in social gatherings, but I'm not part of the sober lifestyle that you mentioned before. Like if I want to eat tiramisu and it has alcohol, I will still eat it. Or if I'm at a birthday and someone hands me like a champagne or like a New Year's Eve, then I'm not being like, oh, I cannot drink this. So I will do it like however I feel.
I see. Well, as also a fellow non-drinker, if I have a tiramisu in front of me and if there's alcohol, I would still eat it. So I completely understand where it's coming from. Now, what's the drinking culture like? What's the drinking culture like among the older generation in your country, and how does it really compare to Korea?
So I think growing up in Germany, like drinking and especially like casual drinking is very like a normal part of everyday life. For example, having a wine for dinner or lunch and drinking beer. Of course, Germany is famous for that, especially after work or even just to relax. But I feel like the perception is a little bit different than in Korea. For example, we have something that is called beer garden, that is like a kind of mix of restaurant and pub with a really nice outdoor area. And that is more of a family activity. So when the weather is nice, we say like, oh, let's go to a beer garden to have lunch today. And it's still kind of a pub, but we go there with our children and still like talk, and it's like our whole family. But drinking in Germany itself is more like a social aspect and tradition, which is why more conservative people will want to hold on to that and are actually a little bit against alcohol-free movements. So my experience was very different from what you said before, like the alcohol-free lifestyle. In Germany and in Korea, I am often still tried to be pressured into drinking. So my experience is different there. But in Korea, of course, they mostly drink soju, right? So the alcohol level, I think, is different. And not from my experience, but more from like TV and drama, I feel like getting drunk is part of the experience. So especially during Höshik, people are getting more pressured if the boss or higher ups are there that are not the same age group, to drink, even if they say, I don't want to drink, because of Confucianism, right?
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving your insights. I have one more question for you. I heard that the non-alcoholic beverage market in Europe is getting bigger and bigger. Does it feel that way to you too?
Yes, definitely. So one thing is the mocktail market that you also mentioned previously. We have that a lot more on, not only on social media, but also in bars, and there are more options, but also there are more developments in drinks as well. So even people that usually like to drink alcohol, they would try new drinks just because they're new, and then say like, oh, it's alcohol free, this cannot taste good, and then they try it and they're like, oh, this actually tastes nice, maybe I'm going to mix it in with my usual drinks. And yeah, in general, I can only repeat what you said before, actually. So I can only agree what you said. The motion is changing, so people more likely buy non-alcoholic drinks in Germany as well, in our generation.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight. It was really interesting to hear someone who's from the country of Oktoberfest, so it was really interesting. So thank you so much for giving us your time today.
And I just want to add, I'm not from Bayern, okay? So I'm not from Oktoberfest country.
Thank you so much for coming in. So we just heard from a Gen Z from Germany who gave us a glimpse into how different cultures approach alcohol and social drinking. Now we're turning our attention to encouraging healthier drinking habits, not just what we drink, but how we drink. So what are some ways we can foster healthier drinking culture in our society?
One cultural change that we can make is to stop romanticizing alcohol or drinking, especially in TV shows or media like movies, because in Korean TV shows it's very common for us to see like people drinking, and it's portrayed as like a very romantic thing or a very fun thing that people should do together. I think it's very unhealthy. It can make other young people be more curious about what drinking is like. So I think that's one thing that we should change. And another thing is emphasizing personal responsibility, because that's very important as well. At the end of the day, you're the one who decides to drink, and you're the only one who can call it a night and stop drinking. So moderation is key, and drinking responsibly is a very healthy way to encourage a healthy drinking culture.
Right, and I think what you said about moderation is key is very important for everyone to remember. Do you have anything to add to this, Brooke?
Yeah, I think it starts with changing our idea of what it means to socialize. When we think of that word, we often think of going to a bar, a club, or a restaurant, and alcohol is usually a part of that picture, but it doesn't have to be. It can be. I think there's nothing wrong with drinking safely and within moderation, like Wonbin said, but I don't think it should be seen as an essential part of the night that you need in order to have fun. And I also think we need to emphasize personal choice and respecting people's decision. No matter why they chose not to drink, they should be respected and included. And that inclusivity starts with making options more available to them. I have a friend, for example, who is allergic to alcohol. Every time I pick a place to eat, I make sure that there are mocktails on the menu. So if they offer more mocktails, if more places possibly even become alcohol-free, then people who choose not to drink can feel more included. So I think as long as we focus on inclusivity over peer pressure, then socializing will be about what it should be about, genuine connection and not what's in your glass.
I guess finding more friends like you who's that considerate
Supportive, right.
would be nice too. And also another way could be making your own glass. So Wonbin, do you happen to know any non-alcoholic cocktail or mocktail recipes?
Yes, I do. I do know one. Mine is a virgin mojito. And the recipe is to make a lime paste by mincing the lime, including the skin, and adding sugar. And also it's nice to add a touch of mint with mint leaves. Now you're going to pour that into a glass with ice and sparkling water, and it's done. It's a very simple recipe. You got yourself a nice, refreshing virgin mojito. And best thing about it is that it works as a nice refresher or a cleanser at the end of your meal.
Just hearing about it is making me feel really refreshed. Do you have any other recipes for us?
Yeah, I love a virgin mojito. I also love another classic, a virgin margarita. All you need is lime juice, orange juice, possibly grapefruit if you enjoy a different flavor, and a touch of agave syrup or honey. You can also add jalapenos if you like a spicy margarita. All you have to do is shake it over ice and pour it into a salt-rimmed glass, or tahini again if you like a little bit of heat. You can even have a blended version if you want to. So as you can tell, there are so many different varieties. So when you have a non-alcoholic beverage, don't think of it like you're giving something up. Think of it like you are discovering something new.
All these recipes sound amazing. So as taste change and wellness takes priority, it's clear Gen Z is redefining what it means to go out for a drink one mocktail at a time. And that's all we have for this episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back on Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. A big thanks to Wonbin.
Always a pleasure.
Good to have you. And Brooke,
Thank you for having me.
for joining us today. And to all our viewers, thanks for watching, and we hope you have the best weekend. We are
News Generation.